Alright, hi guys. This is week 4. This week we went over how to build or partially build server song. So this is what a non's website looks like. Well, let's run through a quick demo of what this actually does. So you have a setting here for beat and a setting here for scale, and depending on the scale and the beat you choose, the output of the song will change. And you have to input, you know, different words here in order to get it to sing. And so that's what that sounds like. Now you're going to go to, the first thing you want to do is go to your AWS console and you want to launch an EC2 instance. You want to make sure that you can access it with HTTP. There we go. Now that we have this instance running, we've been assigned a public IP and everything, so we just need to SSH into it. Your input should look something like this. So first we'll do the sudo yum update, and then sudo yum install httpd, and then sudo yum install php, so we want to do cd slash etc slash httpd slash conf d. Once we're in there, we want to take a look at php. Alright, everything seems good. Now we want to do sudo chk config httpd on, and what this does, it makes sure that every time you start your machine, it starts HTTP, and that means you don't have to manually start it every time. And we're gonna do sudo service HTTP start this time to start it. Now we want to go to a different directory. First, if you don't use VI or Vim, install Emacs like this. Do note that I've never used Emacs before, so the rest of my part of this tutorial will be done using Vim. One issue you might run into is that you might not be able to write here without. One issue you might run into, not having root access while you're trying to write your file. So whether you're using Emacs or you're using Vim, you want to start your command with sudo. Now we want to see real quick that our PHP is working, so we're going to go to our website by going to the public DNS here. And you can see hi there, so it seems to be working. Now we're going to edit this index file a bit. So what we're doing here in this chunk of code is creating an array called out that contains the numbers like from 1 to 10. And then we're printing it out in a JSON encoded format. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It's a pretty intuitive way of carrying and representing data. I'll link a quick primer on JSON if you're not familiar with it in the description. To check that this index.php file is working without rechecking the website itself, we can also do PHP. We can also do PHP index.php. And you can see the output array right here. So everything seems to be working well. Server song is based on reading visitor logs, but the new EC2 instance that you've set up probably doesn't have a lot of visitors, so there might not be a lot of logs to read through. To go around this, we're gonna instead read our own internal user logs. But to do that, we have to implement a sort of hacky solution because we don't want to expose this user log to everybody, right? So first we're going to take a look and we're going to see how many lines we have in this log. So this log has 1,237 lines. That's perfect for what we want to do. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to let someone read a file based on a user request. I want to note here real quick that you would never want to do this in production, but this is the only file we can use that has a suitable number of lines. So now we're going to do cd. We're going to make a directory called bin, and then we're going to go into it. We're going to write a quick warning note for any user that might stumble upon this. Just write a quick warning message so that not any random user just decides to use the file for whatever they want. This is also a sort of explanation for what we're doing and why you don't want public access to this file. So now we're going to copy the contents of cat here. And looking at the permissions, you can see that there's a little bit of an issue. So we want to do sudo chmod 4755 cat. And you can note now that there is a S-bit here. And what this does is that whenever we run this file, the system automatically runs it as sudo, as the root user. And so we need a conceal cat because it might be easy to guess this if you're accessing the website and you're going through the directories. So we're going to hash the date with MD5 and use that as our new file. And this text before the dash is what you want. So copy that and then rename cat to that. And now we want to go back to index.php file and edit it a bit more. Alright, so you can take a quick look at this code, pause the video, and write it down. I'm going to go through and explain it line by line. So first we have patterns to match string, and this checks our request for a specific set of words. And patterns to match explodes this patterns to match string so that they're individually within an array. So the array looks something like this example over here: start, move, stop, stop, something like that. And out is a new array that we're going to generate. Log file is the location of log file. Line strings here is taking messages and putting it in a log file. Line strings here is taking messages and putting it into cat output. And lines here is just an exploded array version of line string. And then we go through everything in lines, right? Which we're doing in this for loop. And we check within our patterns and we see if any of them match. If they do match, we add that to our array out. And then we break. Otherwise, we just keep looping through. And what this will end up doing is pushing a set of values, 0, 1, 2, all the way up to the size of patterns to match. It'll push those values to out, encoded based on where those values are within the array patterns to match itself. So we're basically encoding these start, remove, stop messages within the text that we sent to the website. We're encoding that into numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And finally, we're just going to print it out and then encode it in a JSON format. fix that typo here. And there we go. This portion of the video covers using Emacs to create index.php and modify it, as well as creating the hash sum. Most of this is pretty similar to what you do in Vim, but if you're more familiar with Emacs, this is the part of the video you'd want to